UFC 321, Tom Aspinall versus Gane takes place this weekend, and this is my full card predictions. We're going to be starting off with the first fight in the card, which is this one. If you do go on to enjoy this video, please subscribe. I really would appreciate it. And there will be timestamps, so feel free to jump around if it needs be. But we'll get started with this one, which is Jaqueline Amorim versus Mizuki. Here, I'm picking Amorim to win this one. She's a pretty hefty favourite as well. She's just over a 4-1 favourite over Mizuki. She's on a 4-fight win streak inside the UFC. All of them coming via finish, by the way. 3 submissions in a row. I think we see a submission inside this fight. Because if you look at Mizuki, she's one of those fighters that just pops up once every, 2 or 3 years to fight in the UFC. You know what I mean? It's like a randomly generated UFC 5 fighter you would get in your early stages of a career mode. That's the type of fighter Mizuki is. She's 15-6. They're both 5'3", so there isn't really much of a strength advantage going on either way. But we're going to be picking Amorim to get this one done, and I'm picking a round 2 submission. Round 1's going to be more feeling each other out, pause. And then we go into round number 2. I think Amorim takes the back, and I think she gets a rear naked choke submission. Moving on. Azat Maksum versus Mitch Raposo. I think Azat Maksum gets this one done. I think he clearly gets it done. Mitch Raposo lost to Summer Duarte in my opinion. Clearly lost to Summer Duarte in my opinion. Mitch Raposo is an American wrestler. And the problem is, he can't really implement his wrestling that well, and he can't implement top control. Against Summer Duarte, he had barely any control, and then when he did have control, he didn't do anything with it. And we're talking about a guy in Azat Maksum who went to a very, very close decision with Tagir Ulanbekov. Every single round was close inside that fight. Ulanbekov could not get a takedown or establish any control on Azat Maksum inside that fight. I don't think if Tagir Ulanbekov can't get control on you, Mitch Raposo does not have a chance. I'm sorry, Azat Maksum's going to win this fight. I'm saying Azat Maksum via decision. I'm saying 30-27, Mitch Raposo will not be able to establish any control. Moving on. Hamdy Abdelwahab versus Chris Barnett. Boys, this is a heavyweight slop fest. We've got 5'9", 265-pound Chris Barnett versus Hamdy Abdelwahab, who is also morbidly obese. Who has a set? How the hell do you have a reach disadvantage against a guy who's 5'9", and you're 6'2"? Crazy. I think Hamdy's got the better boxing, and I think Chris Barnett is, he's pretty athletic for a guy of his size, we'll put it. But I don't see Chris Barnett catching Hamdy Abdelwahab with a spinning wheel kick. Hamdy is pretty bad, though. But I can see this being a 3-round slop fest with neither of them having more than a round of cardio. And I can see Hamdy getting a close 29-28 decision, winning the last 2 rounds. And that's my honest opinion. This is going to be a terrible fight. If it does not end inside the first minute or the first round, it's going to be awful. I'm going to be honest. It's going to be Chris Barnett who can't move, and Hamdy Abdelwahab throwing these telegraphed overhands. It's going to be an awful fight. If it doesn't end inside the first round, it's going to be terrible. I'm going to pick Hamdy Abdelwahab to get this one done by decision. Could be a first round knockout though, which I'm hoping, because if it isn't, wrap it up for the boys. But I'm going to pick Hamdy Abdelwahab to get this one done. We're going to move on. 2. Nathaniel Wood versus Jose Miguel Delgado. I'm going to pick Jose Delgado to get this one done. It's a very close one in my opinion. I think the odds are pretty close. Yeah, they are. But Nathaniel Wood is good, man. Nathaniel Wood, if we look at Nathaniel Wood across his career, I guess. Nathaniel Wood, he's on a 2-fight winning streak. I thought the Naimov one was a little bit of a robbery. Plus, Naimov kept kicking him in the balls and grabbing the fence. But before that, he went on a 3-fight win streak. Charles Jourdain, Charles Rosa, Andre Philly. He's beat John Castaneda inside his career. Morgan Shire, that's the fight he's coming off. Or the win he's coming off, rather. Jose Miguel Delgado is very talented, though. And I feel I can see him catching Nathaniel Wood with a knee up the middle. Especially with the height difference as well. With Wood only being 5'6". And that knee up the middle is nasty. The one that he caught Haider Amir with. So, I can see Miguel Delgado catching him with a knee up the middle onto Nathaniel Wood and then teeing off with him and finishing him. Unfortunately, because I like Nathaniel Wood. He's a British guy, but it's unfortunate because I think Miguel Delgado is going to get a win. beat him, and I think he's going to KO him, and I think if he's going to KO him, it's going to be inside round number 1. So, it's very sad to see, but I'm going to pick Jose Miguel Delgado to get this one done. Moving on, Valter Walker versus Louie Sutherland. Holy Gane. Oh my. Okay. Valter Walker is going to heel hook him inside round number 1. He's going to run out. He's going to run out at him like a bat out of hell. He's going to sprint at him, take him down, jump a heel hook, and I think he's going to get it. So I'm going to say a 2-minute submission for Valter Walker over Louie Sutherland. Now, Sutherland could stuff the takedown and, knock him out. It is heavyweight. 1 punch is all it takes. 1 punch is all it takes. But realistically, 10 seconds into the fight, you got this bold guy, fucking Bond villain looking guy, sprinting at you. 10 seconds into a fight, you're going to panic. And then you've seen him jumping on you and ripping on your heel. I'm going to say Valter Walker, 30 seconds into the fight, he's going to be ripping on a heel hook, and I think he gets it done. I think we see a submission within the first minute here from Valter Walker. Heel hook submission. I think he gets another one in a row. Moving on. Ludovit Klein versus Mateusz Rębecki. Rębecki has had 2 Fight of the Year contenders in his last 2 fights. So his last fight was against Chris Duncan. Absolute war. I think Duncan did win that fight, but it was very close. But it was a complete war, and I don't think Rębecki can take any more damage like that, especially in consecutive fights. Because the one before that was against Orobly. That was a Fight of the Year contender. That might have been Fight of the Year, Or was it the Zellhuber one? Might have been. Might be the Rybovich-Zellhuber that got Fight of the Year. But the Rębecki versus Orobly fight was an absolute war. And then he had the war against Duncan. And in that last round, it kind of looked like he was folding a little bit. Not folding, but like breaking a little bit to the jab of Chris Duncan. And he's going up against a guy in Ludovit Klein, who's got very clean boxing, who is nasty on the feet. Yeah, he doesn't have the most finishes, but he can drop guys. And I think he drops Rębecki. I think he causes some damage on Rębecki. And I think he gets a little bit scrappy. And if he gets scrappy, I don't know how much damage Rębecki can take in consecutive fights. You know what I'm saying? But he's a brawler. He's a brawler. This is going to be a fun fight. If I had to predict a fight of the night, it would be this one. But I'm going to pick Ludovit Klein. And I'm going to pick him via... What am I picking him by? I'm going to pick a Ludovit Klein decision. I think the Rębecki chin holds up for another fight. But I think we're going to start to see that damage starting to show on Rębecki. Because he's gone to 3 back-to-back awards in consecutive fights. Insane. Moving on. Ikram Aliskerov versus JunYong Park. Boys, I'm going with the Iron Turtle. I'm going with JunYong Park. Now, Ikram is a very talented fighter. He's a very explosive fighter. But the Iron Turtle, bro. This guy's never been finished by knockout. This guy's never been knocked out before. My camera is bugging, but we'll continue. I don't know how good the grappling is of Ikram. I know he's from Dagestan, but we can't just assume every single Dagestani has very good grappling. Said Nurmagomedov did not have the best grappling. He got out-grappled by Bryce Mitchell. So, well, I'm not just going to automatically assume that Aliskerov has good grappling because he's from Dagestan. But I think round 1, Aliskerov is going to be on top. Borderline 10-8 round, okay? I think Park will survive. I think we'll go into a second round, and I think Park will start to wear on him. Get his takedowns, start living up to his name of the Iron Turtle. And I think he will beat the hare. Okay, nice little fun analogy for you. I think Aliskerov will be the hare, and I think JunYong Park will be the turtle, the Iron Turtle. I can see him get this one done. And I can see him surviving a very hard round 1, which is a borderline 10-8, gets knocked down a few times, takes a bit of damage. And then he comes back inside round number 2. Does his thing, lands the takedowns. I can see him winning a decision here. I can see him winning a decision. Give me JunYong Park. 29-28 decision over Ikram Aliskerov. Big up the Iron Turtle. Moving on. Nasrat Haqparast versus Quillan Salkilld. Obviously, Quillan Salkilld, he knocked out Anshul Jabili inside 19 seconds. We've all seen the edits. Do not redeem. What is that build, by the way, on Haqparast? What is the build on Nasrat Haqparast? It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Why is he wearing the old shorts as well? He's just not been rendered properly. Okay, that's weird. I think Killian Salkilld, he's good, don't get me wrong, but I think he's missing a few fundamentals on the feet. And I think if Haqparast can, exploit it a little bit, we also got to keep in mind this is also Abu Dhabi, which is unfortunate to say, but it is a factor. You know what I mean? It is a factor. We've all seen the biased judges, we've all seen the biased referees. It is a factor when we go to these types of places. Like when we're in Brazil, we see a little bit of things. When we're in Canada, we know Amin Zahabi. It is a factor we have to keep in mind, and I think I can see Haqparast winning a decision here, unless Killian Salkilld can find himself a knockout. We don't really know if Killian Salkilld is that good to get a knockout. Obviously, he knocked out Anshul Jabli, but it was an early stoppage, and plus Anshul Jabli is, if he gets hit with anything clean on the chin, he's going down. Let's be honest here. But I'm gonna pick Haqparast to win. I think it's going to be a close decision. I just don't think Killian Salkilld is skilled on the feet at this point in his career. He's definitely talented, don't get that wrong. So I think Nasrat Haqparast will get this one. Moving on to the main card. Aleksandar Rakić versus Azamat Mirzakhanov. But the thing is, with this one, you're going to see both of these guys. You're probably going to think, how are these guys in the same division? Aleksandar Rakić is big for the weight class. He's big. This guy is a heavyweight-sized guy. Azamat Mirzakhanov is small for the weight class. This guy is a middleweight, welterweight-sized guy. 71 inches of reach, 5'10". He's fast, but he's small. Big size difference. Now, obviously, size isn't everything. It's how you use it. But I think Aleksandar Rakić, he's that level, you know? Is Mirzakhanov that level? Mirzakhanov is pretty good. He's pretty fast. And I think I can see him catching Aleksandar Rakić on the chin, you know. But I'm going to be honest here. I think Aleksandar Rakić is going to Rakić it out. I think he's going to, use his frame, use his size, control the distance. And I can see him leg kicking, keeping Mirzakhanov at range. And I can see him winning this fight. I can see him winning it by decision. I'm going to say 29-28, 30-27 decision. I think Rakić is going to win this one. I think Mirzakhanov probably takes the first, based on damage, knockdowns, whatever have you. People forget, man, Rakić won the first round against Magomed Ankalaev. And he was playing the point-striking decision game with Magomed Ankalaev, who is very, very good at that point-striking decision game. He lost to Yuri, but that was a complete dogfight. Yuri's got that warrior spirit. He lost to Jan Blachowicz, but they're three former champs. Is Mirzakhanov that level? Don't think so. So, I think Aleksandar Rakić will get this one done. Personally, I think Rakić should be a heavyweight. Shouldn't be a light heavyweight. I think he's too big. But I think he gets this one done over Azamat Mirzakhanov. I think he uses his frame. Mirzakhanov is fast, don't get me wrong, but I think the frame and the size and the speed and just the game plan of Aleksandar Rakić will be too much for Mirzakhanov. So I'm going to take Rakić, 28-28 decision. Mirzakhanov taking the first, Rakić taking the last two. Moving on, we got heavyweight Paddy Pimblett versus Jailton Almeida. The weigh-in show was today, and I watched their weigh-ins. Alexander Volkov weighed in 161 pounds. That is an increase of about 7 pounds from his last previous weigh-in. On top of that, it wasn't just like a little bit of fat. He looked lean, okay? He looked like a lean, mean, killing machine. And on top of that, his grappling has improved massively. Outgrappled Ciryl Gane. Now, I know Gane doesn't have the best grappling and is not quite Jailton Almeida. But Almeida weighed in at 231. There is a 30-pound difference between these two fighters. I think Jailton Almeida is too small for Alexander Volkov. Now, Almeida will get the takedowns on Volkov. Volkov's too tall. When he gets to 6'7", he's 6'7", so it's kind of easy to take you down. Especially if you power double leg. Their center of mass is kind of off and they're kind of a little bit more gangly with the way that they move. But I can see Volkov working his way back up to his feet, using his size and strength advantage here, and then using his frame to kickbox and knock out Jailton Almeida. I'm picking a round 2 KO for Alexander Volkov. He is good, don't get me wrong, but I feel like Volkov is going to out-grapple him. You know what I mean? So, I'm picking Volkov to win. I'm picking him to win by TKO. Round number 2. And with the size that Volkov has put on, I don't think it's going to work as well. I think he will get this one done. So, I'm picking Volkov to win. Moving on. Umar Nurmagomedov versus Mario Batista. Umar is a 6-1 favourite. I can see Umar getting this one done. I believe Umar will get this one done. Mario Batista's wins have aged pretty poorly. I'm going to be honest. The Patchy Mix win, I picked him to beat Patchy Mix, but the win hasn't really aged too well. Mix has gone out there against some random guy coming from a different promotion. Arguably got beat worse against this random Polish guy than he did against Mario Batista. So, and I think Umar Nurmagomedov is going to beat Mario Batista. I think he'll style on him. I think he'll hit some spinning wheel kicks. I think he'll get some head kicks. I can see him wobbling and dropping Mario Batista. I don't see him getting a TKO finish. Batista does have underrated boxing, and I think he will sting him a few times, especially if Umar commits to a head kick and Batista comes in as he commits. I can see him catching him with a right hand, but past that problems, I think Umar is just more of a complete fighter and just a better fighter than Mario Batista. This guy went 3-2 with Merab. So moving on, Yandaroba versus Mackenzie Dern. I don't think Mackenzie Dern's going to get this one done. I think Yandaroba is just more complete at this point in their career than Mackenzie Dern is. I think Yandaroba has improved a lot since the first time they fought. You know what I mean? It was a close fight the first time they fought each other. It was a pretty close fight the first time they fought. Now they're rematching later on down the line. I think Yandaroba's improved a lot more. I think Yandaroba will get this one done. I'm saying boring 4-1 decision for Vinaroba Yandaroba. So, moving on. Tommy Aspinall. I'm picking him to beat Cyril Gane. 1 minute, one and done. You know what I mean? But that's not the point. That's not what we're talking about here. I'm picking Tom Aspinall to win this one. I'm picking him inside to get it done inside 3 minutes via TKO. I think he's going to run in on Cyril Gane, bash him with a few 1-2s, and if that doesn't work, power double leg submission. However, if Tom don't win, if Tom don't win, it's over. It's over. Jon Jones gets to run off into the sunset with Hasbulla, and he gets to, come along. He gets to, yap on social media. The yap fest we're going to get from Jon Jones if Cyril Gane wins. I hope Tom Aspinall wins, and I hope he gets it done quicker than Jon Jones did. More impressively, I beg, because if he doesn't, boys, the yap fest is going to be insane. I'm picking Tom Aspinall to win. I hope he gets it done. If not, I don't know what to do. I generally don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what half the MMA world is going to do. Because you have to admit that Jon Jones is, the greatest heavyweight of all time? Good God. But those are my predictions. Let me know what you thought inside the comments below. I'm picking Tom Aspinall round 1 knockout inside 3 minutes. See you in the next video. Goodbye.